We do shave their fur between their paw pads. We trim their nails. We used canned air to blow out the excess hair from the inside of the paw pad. We wipe them down. If they're really dirty, we use like Dawn dish soap and water to get the dirt.
Your animals are taken care of even like after they're gone. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Dear Dilemma. As you can see, we are taking you on the road today.
We are going on the road.
So Dear Dilemma is going on a field trip today. We are actually going to pick up Molly.
Yeah.
So if you guys have been following along with Brooke's little Yorkie dog, 16 years old, passed away over the Rainbow Bridge last week.
Yeah.
And we're actually, I don't know if you can share a little bit about this company, but it seems really like an awesome experience for her.
So very blessed and thankful that they are open. They just opened back up, I believe, or opened back in September of 2024. So they are a pet cremation facility. They do it out of they built like a garage specifically for their business. They work 2 full-time jobs. Well, they each work a full-time job, and then they do this basically on the side. And they just basically help, obviously, those around the community that have lost their pet. And we're talking any pet. It's not just dogs and cats, like birds and lizards and rabbits. And,
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Any animal that is a pet to you. And then not only do they do that, but they also have started, because we have a really big problem in our town. That'll be an episode of itself, of loose animals, especially dogs, and rehoming of animals, especially dogs, and dogs getting loose and all of that. So what they actually do is, if there are any animals that they are aware of that are deceased on the side of the road, like cats and dogs, they'll pick them up. And they'll see if they have a chip to be, if there's an owner. And if they don't, then they actually cremate the animal there. So
it's awesome.
That not only do they help individuals, but they're actually helping these poor animals that didn't have a chance of survival. Or, a case recently where 2 dogs were found, and one unfortunately was too sick to make it. And I believe they'll be cremating that dog. And so they have a couple different packages where you can get your pet's ashes back, or you can actually, they have somewhere where they kind of spread the ashes all together, kind of like I don't want to say a pet cemetery, but a memorial spot, so you don't have to take them. But they are amazing. They are located in, would that be considered Wayne County? Union County?
Yes, it would probably be Union County. It's closer to Liberty, correct?
It's in between Richmond and Liberty, or Richmond and Oxford. But we're going to interview her. Her name is Susan, and I keep telling her she's an angel on earth. She has done nothing but answered all of my text questions I've had, even prior to Molly being unfortunately put to sleep, just because I knew it was going to be happening soon. But so yeah, we're excited we're excited to interview her, but I'm happy to get my dog back in a different form. I'm going to be maybe emotional, so just ignore me if I cry. But excited to kind of learn more about their business and how it can help the community.
And I know Brooke has mixed feelings about it. I don't currently have a pet, but I thought it was really interesting. I stopped by to drop off some flowers to Brooke the day that it happened, and she was like, oh, I'm texting the company. They came and picked up Molly's body. So it was really interesting, because I was like, oh, they're texting you? Like, that's so cool. So it seemed like their communication was
very
amazing,
good.
And they really went out of their way to like make the process really easy for Brooke.
They told me when she was fully actually cremated, they informed me, hey, she was just cremated, wanted to let you know that we're waiting on her urn to come in. And then last minute I texted her after she had said she'd been cremated, and I said, will you please save me some ashes out of that, because I want to make a necklace? And she said, actually, the company or business that they use to create their urns has jewelry that they make. And so I can't wait to show you guys that as well, because she was willing to also, we added that on and her to do that for me instead of me like trying to trust a company of shipping the ashes out. And like, I know it's her. And I don't know if I said this, but they cremate your dog individually, or your pet. They're not getting cremated with other animals. It is just them, so you know 100% sure you are just getting your animal back and not mixed with others. But that we'll get into when we interview her.
I think that's awesome because I know, I mean, not knocking vets at all. I think vets are great, but I do think that sometimes when you get their ashes back from a vet, you're kind of questioning, like, were they in here with like multiple other dogs, cats, whatever. So that's really reassuring, at least with this company, that you know that you're getting their true ashes back. So
so I have weird feelings. Like, I'm really sad, and I've been sad for the week, and I've been crying. And thank goodness I have a friend like Hannah that is willing to go with me. We thought, you know what? Let's film some episodes while we go, and then let's interview the owner. But I'm also, in a way, really happy and excited to go get her because, I'm not going to cry, because I'm getting her back, even though it's in a different form. It's just comforting to know that she'll be back home. Okay, continue.
Well, and I don't want to say that Brooke's relieved by any means, but I do know that it's been really tough for her in a way in these last couple weeks, last couple months. Molly's was really struggling at home and declining a lot and having a lot of accidents, and that puts an extra layer of stress when you're trying to wake up in the morning to go to work and you're having to clean poopy piles and things like that.
So much pee. But I would be so happy to clean up one more little pee area if I had her back. But we know they can't live forever, and as hard as it is to accept that, we have to accept that.
And you've had her half your life. So.
Literally half my life. Got her when I was 16. I'm 32. So she's been through everything with me. She's been through it all, ups and downs, apartments moving from college, relationship breakups, moving, everything. So I'm just, hopefully I gave her the best life that I could. I didn't realize this, but she affected a lot more people than I thought.
Everybody knows Molly.
Everyone. I had a friend text me. She said, I literally gasped when I opened up Facebook and saw that she passed, because she's like, I never thought that dog would go and die, like, ever. And I was like, me neither. I for sure thought she was going to outlive me. But
and one of our recent episodes, we were even talking about like how, the writer wrote in and was talking about kind of the same situation that you were going through with Molly.
I thought I for sure had longer time.
Molly's for sure gonna outlive, like, the next couple years, and then all of a sudden it was like a couple weeks later all this happened. So.
And I did say when she stopped eating and just kind of laid around, that's when I knew. And I don't know what it is, and everyone keeps saying she was my soul dog, and I think she really was, because internally, like, I knew that it was time, that it wasn't she was sick or there was something to fix. Like, I just knew, like, this is it. She stopped eating, and she loves food. She just laid around. She didn't do anything. I had to pick her up, and I just knew internally, like,
that was time.
It's time. It's time. You don't want it to be time. You want them to go on their own, but it's time. So, but we're excited to bring you along, get to meet Susan. I don't think we'll meet her husband, who was amazing coming to pick up Molly, and just know that she was taken care of. I believe he is working, but to kind of show you a little bit of what this new business is, and hopes that other people in the community, that unfortunately when you go through this sadness and emotional journey, but you have people like the Heavenly Hound that really are amazing.
You can kind of have this as a resource, maybe, for the future.
Use me as an example.
Well, we will check back in with you guys here in a little bit when we get out of the car and we meet Susan. So we'll kind of pop to that here in just a few minutes.
So here's the little necklace. So her name is kind of small, but it's underneath the paw print there. I don't want to get my fingerprint all over this, but
your nails are cute.
And then on the back is her nose. So I did put a small amount of her ashes in there for you already, and I super glued the opening of it so that there won't be any. Her keepsakes are all in here. So there's a clay paw print, her hair clipping, and nose prints and ink prints in here.
So this is a little inside of what you kind of receive upon, depending on what package you choose. And then I did the necklace as an add-on because I wanted to have her ashes with me.
So here's her her little urn. Put the forever in our hearts. And that's her actual paw print.
Okay. Okay, this got more emotional than I thought. I just did my makeup. I only did my mascara. Okay. Whew. This is weird because you're used to having them.
I know, and you say you had her for 16 years?
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna not cry. Back to the interview.
It's okay to cry.
I've been crying all week. So is this glued or for any reason?
It's no. So her remains are in here. So this opens like this.
Okay.
And then
It's a little like bag.
the bag is inside here. This bag is heat sealed. So we do that, but the box is not glued.
It's so strange. You know, they say like you have a soul dog.
Yes. My Hazel is my soul mutt. That's what I call her.
I don't know if you can see that on there. Wow. It's crazy. It's weird. But I'm so thankful that you guys are open because we'll get into this with the question. And if you don't want to say this, we can cut it out. Kind of how we know vets do.
It's a little more impersonable.
Yeah. And we know that you may not get your pet back.
That's something
solely.
that we hear often is that people feel like they don't receive their pet back, or they're not sure if it's fully their pet or all of their pet.
Yeah.
That's something that we wanted to promise our clients is that when you receive your pet, you're receiving your pet only.
Oh, yeah.
Our business is located on our property here. We welcome people to our home. People come here, at 3:00 in the morning, weekends, all kinds of times.
And you work a full-time job too.
Yes, I do.
So what made you want to start this business?
So I worked in a vet clinic for several years while I was in college. I went to school for animal science.
Nice.
So my career's always kind of been in the animal field. For the last 7 years, I've worked in pet food manufacturing. So that's been a good way to learn and pay bills and things like that. But it's not really my passion. So when I worked in the vet, something that was always very meaningful was to give the clients back their pets after cremation. And at the time, I didn't really know the process. I didn't really know what was going on. I just knew the guy came and he picked up the pets from the vet, and then they'd bring back urns and we'd give them back to the clients. And there was one time when there was this young boy and his dad. They came in with their dog to be euthanized, and the little boy said, "Can you cremate this picture with my dog?" And it was like a coloring book page that the kid had.
Oh my God, that's so sad.
That he had colored, and he wanted it to go with his dog. And the dad said, "I don't really care if it goes with the dog. Just take it because I want him to think it's going." And so in that moment, I was like, "Well, I don't think we can send this," and because I didn't really know. And so I went and I took the dog's paw print and I made an ink print on the coloring page, and I made a copy of it and I gave it back to the little boy. And I said, "I think Isaac would have wanted you to have this." And so that was something that kind of always stuck with me. I have that coloring book page somewhere because I kept it and I can't find it, but I would love to put it in here. That was something that kind of started my interest, and then I wondered how I would even go about doing that. I have always wanted to be a business owner. I don't feel like I necessarily fit into the mold of working in corporate America or, things like that.
Same. So, we say this all the time.
I've always wanted to be, my own boss, help people, and I love animals. So animals are pretty much what my life revolves around. Hazel is my soul mutt. So I've had her now 11 years. This will be the 11th year that I've had her, and every day she's starts slowing down and she's getting more gray, and really I wanted to start a business that I would feel comfortable sending my pets to when I have to make that decision.
And that's where I kind of said at the beginning of this video that you've been amazing on texting and communicating, and even letting me know that her stuff's done, or her paw prints and her fur, and hey, she's been cremated, we're waiting on the box, and communication because I added the necklace on. So I mean, even up to 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I was telling myself, I'm like, okay, if she passes at 10 o'clock or something, I don't want to text you, I'll just wait to not bother you. But it's really truly a blessing that you guys are kind of in a way available 24/7 if need be on situations.
It's kind of hard and a little bit challenging working a full-time job
Yeah.
to be available like during the day. And Andy, who's my boyfriend and biggest supporter and best unpaid employee.
Oh, he was a saint coming to pick her up. He was so sweet.
You know, we don't, at this point in time, neither of us, you know, draw a paycheck from here. We just basically pay our bills for the business with the money that we bring in. So eventually we would like to do this full time, but we've had a little bit of a hiccup with that. We pretty much directly just service the community, pets that pass at home or people that decide to use our services instead of the services offered through the vet. What we have found is most of the vets use a corporate franchise pet cremation business, and either out of Indianapolis or Ohio, and so pets get transported, you know, far distances, and it's hard to know. You know, I would never talk bad about anybody else's business, but I can't say for certain what other people do.
Yeah, I personally, as someone, couldn't give her up and think, oh, I'm getting her back. I just don't. I mean, you can see she was a small dog, 7-8 pounds, and her actual cremations are small, and I've seen, you know, some that come back and there's a lot more, and you're like, there's no way that's not possible.
So I will say it is kind of crazy when you think about cremation. So when pets are cremated, they go through a complete change in their structure of their body, I guess you could say. So pretty much all that's left behind is their skeletal structure, and so bone density, even some health conditions and things like that can have an impact on what's left behind. So small animals typically have a very small amount of remains, but we have cremated some animals that are very small that return the same amount of remains that a bigger animal did. So it does vary. Sometimes it's shocking. Sometimes larger.
Yeah, when you're like, you stole, and you're like, oh, you're.
Sometimes larger animals produce a very small amount. And it's just like, it depends on really their skeletal structure. And so even animals that seem bigger, their weight could be contributed to their fat and their skin and things like that. And so their actual bone structure might not be as heavy as their actual body, with the skin and things like that. So nothing is left behind after a cremation, like their skin, tissue, organs, anything like that. It's just their skeletal structure. It's their bone fragments in a very delicate form, so they're very brittle. When they first come out after cremation, they're very hot. So you have to let them cool down, and then you process them, and that's what comes out as the ash type material. So it's a very interesting process. It's something that people often ask me how I do this, if I love animals so much. But honestly, the answer is because I love animals so much.
I think it's, in a way, not any different, maybe more meaningful than those humans who get cremated, in a way, because, you know, that's just their job and they're not connected to it. And I don't know why, but for some reason I feel like with animals there's just a different soul connection, even if you don't know them. I was going to ask you, like, when it comes time to your animals.
We did cremate our own dog back in January, and that was very tough. But it was also a relief to know that we could provide him that type of care, and to know that our urn that's sitting on our mantle is our dog. And that's something that we strive to, you know, for people to understand and to know and to have that trust in us, because we have cremated actually 2 of our own pets. One was our Andy's dog that he had for 13 years. His name was Jethro. He was Andy's shadow. He followed him everywhere. He was the best dog. So we officially opened in September of 2024, and Jethro passed in January, and so that was really tough. We took him to the vet. We brought him back here. We did all his keepsakes and things like that, and that was really tough because it was
you're doing your own
animals. It was our dog, and you know, I didn't want Andy to have to see him that way, and so you know, I asked him, "Do you want me to cremate him, or do you want to do it?" And he said, "I want to do it." And
that would be so hard. Oh, I couldn't, because like for her, I was like about to chase him down in the pouring rain just so I could hold her again. But I also didn't want to see her like that. But the way I had her just looked like she was kind of sleeping, and I was like,
I just looked peaceful.
I just say, like, I wouldn't, and I'm not knocking anyone who gets their animals what did I say it was in the car? Taxiderming, but in a way, like if I could just have her body. I did actually order, I don't know if you've heard of them, cuddle clones.
Yes,
I ordered one, so I'm hoping.
So an elderly couple that we helped a couple months back, they were the sweetest people, but they don't have any children, and she was their only, her name was Sadie, and she was like their world, and she passed, and we cremated her and everything, and they got a cuddle clone, and they share her, and she had 3 legs, and so the cuddle clone has 3 legs.
Yeah, they ask for a ton of photos and anything that's distinct, so I'm like praying it looks like her. I'm gonna message them.
She was worried that it wouldn't, and it looked just like her.
I know it's weird. People don't judge me, but like you need something to hold, because I guess I could hold this and be like, it's okay.
It's a little rough.
No, it's not as comfortable. She can travel with me for work now. So I want to ask, how do you help the community? Because I have seen that you've been tagged of helping animals that are found deceased. So how did you get involved with kind of helping the community out in that way?
So back in, it was December, it was a couple months after we opened. There was a post on Facebook that kind of was like viral on all the local pet pages.
The puppy?
No, it was a Doberman. And so it was a Doberman, and it was snowing that night, and so it was pretty cold. There was a bunch of posts about this Doberman that had this yellow collar on that was hit by a car and was on the side of 40 over by like Cracker Barrel. And so I thought to myself, if that was my dog,
I wouldn't want to.
I would not want it to stay there. Like I felt like just something pulling in me to go, pick up the dog. And I thought, that's a busy intersection. I don't want to get hit by a car. I don't know what to do right now. And so I called this girl that I know, and she was more than willing to come help me. Andy was at work that night, and so she came out and helped me. This guy from Ohio, he came out and helped, and it was just like a really nice thing to do.
Yeah.
But I was the only one with the means to, help provide cremation. So they just helped come load her up. I think she'd been there for a little while, but it was cold out, so she was pretty frozen.
That's where I didn't want to feel, is when they go into like the rigor mortis. To me, it freaks me out.
She was not in the best shape, and so I thought, I'm gonna go pick her up. And so I met my friend, and I met this guy that I'd never met before, and we went out there and we picked her up. My friend has a microchip scanner, and
nice.
So she thought, I'm gonna bring the scanner and see if this dog is microchipped, and she was. And so we looked up the number, and we found the owner, and so I submitted a report that we had found her. And so you don't actually get the person's contact information. You have to submit like I found this pet. And you have to put if they're deceased or if they're alive, where their location was, things like that.
That's a process.
Yeah. And so I submitted the information, and then the next morning at like 6 o'clock, I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize, and I answered the phone, and he said, "This is so-and-so, and I think that you have my dog." And it, telling somebody that type of news is really hard. It doesn't get any easier, especially when you're the one that finds them or have to like break that news to people. So I just said, yes, I do have your dog. Could you please confirm her name? Because it did tell her name on the microchip thing. And so she had a very unique name. Her name was Island Girl. So that was her name. And
poor girl lives in the winter.
So he said her name, and so I knew that it was her, because who else's dog would have been named Island Girl?
Yeah.
And so he was crying on the phone. He was telling me how thankful he was. I told him that we were a cremation service, and there was a bunch of posts about his dog, and I just felt like I should go pick her up. I said, I haven't cremated her yet. I have her here, but I was hoping to find the owner before I, made a decision on what to do with her. He told me that he was a truck driver. She traveled all over the world. He's a truck driver and delivers like band equipment for concerts and stuff. And so she was like a very well-known dog. She's traveled to like 49 states. She's in Instagram videos. She's like a very well-known dog. She's been in music videos and things like that.
Well, fancy Island Girl was what she was.
And so he paid for cremation, for private cremation. He gave me a very generous tip to help and to say thank you. And he lived in Arkansas, and so the United States Postal Service is the only approved mail carrier that you can send cremated remains through.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So we had an urn engraved, and he goes on like band tours and stuff, so I sent a t-shirt,
trying to get that name out there.
And so I sent a t-shirt, but he was super kind, and he was so grateful, and so we mailed Island Girl back to Arkansas.
Aww.
And he stays in touch still to this day, how grateful he was. He messaged me a couple months ago, and he said, I'm going to be in town. I want to meet you guys in person. Would you be willing to get dinner with me? But then he said it was too emotional. He wasn't ready. And so he said he'll be back, at a later time. And so I have never met him. I've only ever talked to him on the phone. And
but I would feel so blessed that, we traveled with our dogs to Florida, and we always said, I have the name tags with our numbers, but I don't have them chipped. And if anything were to happen, I would, that is what I would want someone to do for mine, especially if they pass.
And that's what I told him. I said I would have done this for anybody's dog. I didn't know you. I didn't know whose dog this was. I just went and picked her up, and I thought she was going to be a stray with no owner, and we were going to.
And shame on you, whoever hit her. If you hit an animal, it's okay if it's a squirrel or a raccoon, but if it's a dog or a cat, you better pull over and figure it out.
And that's what's unfortunate is people don't. They don't stop. They don't.
I would vomit. I would get out of my car and probably throw up, and then cry, and then be like, oh no, my gosh.
So from that, we did start what's called a Rainbow Fund, and so that's a donation.
I was going to say, that was my next question, is how can the community help you in your business?
So we have a donation fund. It's called the Rainbow Fund, and we started this because as a business, we are not a nonprofit. We are not a charity. We don't get grants. We don't get donations on a regular basis, and so to take on that type of I don't want to call it a burden because it's not really a burden.
Responsibility?
Take on that type of responsibility is a lot. So from that moment with Island Girl, people started calling us all the time. There's a dead cat. There's a dead dog. There's a dead raccoon. There's a dead this. And I had to draw a line in the sand because unfortunately I can't pick up wildlife. They have all kinds of diseases, and if I was to pick up every raccoon, I'd be picking them up every day.
You would literally outside on your road.
So they're everywhere. But because of Island Girl, I pick up people's dogs and cats because they could belong to somebody. And while not all of them do, I do feel like it's a respectful and dignified end for them. They didn't deserve to get hit.
No.
The animal crisis that we're in right now with
that's
the
an episode we'll have, I think, coming up
with the strays and the lack of support and help is really it's awful for the community. A lot of people take on things that they can't afford and try to help when they can, and that's something that we wanted to try to help with. But with donations, like I said, people donate to us every now and then. Most of the time people donate more often when there's like a dog. With the cats, there's stray cats that get hit all the time.
Not a cat lover. I'm still sad if I see one on the side of the road,
but people do call us just about every day, whether it's a dead cat or a dead dog. And in the past probably 3 to 4 months, we've picked up over 40 cats and about, I'd say, 6 dogs.
If they don't want them back or you aren't able to find an owner, and I believe this is one of the packages that you offer. Is there a place where you spread ashes?
So we have 15 acres out here. So this field is ours. The woods back here is ours. And then this field is ours as well. And so for pets that we can't find their owners, or for people that choose to not receive their remains back, it's called communal cremation. So that's where pets are cremated together. It's really to lessen the cost for people and to be a little bit more energy efficient. So private cremation is very attention to detail. You put the individual pet, you make sure you gather all of their remains, you process their remains, and that's why the cost is a little bit higher. But
I'd pay it again and again.
But communal cremation is it really just helps us to cover the utilities of our equipment.
Okay.
So the electricity and the propane, those can be a little high in cost. And so with communal cremation, it's really just to help us cover that. And then we scatter their remains on our property out in the woods back here.
So it's kind of peaceful too out here.
Yeah. And so we have like a bin, and we wait till it's full, and then we go scatter them.
Oh, have a day for it.
Yeah.
So how can people find you that aren't aware of you or your business, and how can they, reach out to you or get a hold of you? I know you're on Facebook.
Yes. We do have a Facebook page.
We'll make sure we share that.
We try to be pretty active on Facebook. Social media is, pretty easy way to get your name out there and to get people to share stuff. I'm not big on TikTok. I don't even have TikTok. I don't know how
that would be an interesting TikTok.
Yeah. I have seen a TikTok of a woman who owns she's a mortician, and she shares things about
that is true.
cremation about people, and my friend keeps telling me I should start a TikTok, and
people have questions.
I'm like, I don't know. I took a video of myself one time doing keepsakes for pets, and I thought, this is weird. People wouldn't want to see this. And
you never know.
And I thought, well, maybe they would want to see it. So I tried to make it respectful, and I covered the pet, and I just had their paw out. And I shaved the fur, because when we do keepsakes, we want them to be clear. People often get tattoos or frame these things in their house, and we don't want it to look like a blob of nothing. But sometimes pets have long hair between their paws. They have long nails.
Smalley did. She needed a haircut, but I knew it was coming. I was like,
so sometimes, depending on their condition, it can have an impact on what their keepsakes come out to be like. But we do shave their fur between their paw pads. We trim their nails. We used canned air to blow out the excess hair from the inside of the paw pad. We wipe them down. If they're really dirty, we use like Dawn dish soap and water to get the dirt.
Your animals are taken care of even like after they're gone. I mean, literally all the way up until
yep.
the moment.
And it's kind of a nice thing to spend that time with them too. Even though we didn't know them during their life, we get to spend the time with them before their last journey. And just think about the life that they had with their family and how we can honor them. Back to your original question about like how people can find us. So Facebook, and then we have a website. On our website, we have different information about our services. We don't really post our costs of services because we don't want that to deter people. And so, people,
that's why I reached out to kind of see what the process.
So people reach out. We have an online form that people can fill out to request an estimate for services. We try to make it really all encompassing, asking the pet's name, the desired cremation service, and we have the list of all the services, what all comes with it, and that's one of the selections people can choose on the estimate request. They can also select that they want pricing for all services, so that we can share all of that information. But it does vary, our cost of services, really just because there's so many different factors. The weight of the pet, the type of urn they want, if they don't want an urn, if they don't want keepsakes, if they don't want this, and so it can be kind of hard to just post a generic price. And then we offer pickup services, so we pick up from people's homes or we pick up from vet clinics, and so with that there's an added fee really based on mileage, and so it's kind of hard to post a general cost. But
like me, I just reached out and asked. I knew which one I wanted in the process because I knew it was coming up to time. And like I said, you responded like within like an hour or so, and very helpful.
We use Square for all of our invoicing and estimates and stuff like that. And it's been a really easy way to like send stuff digitally.
Do you have a payment? So for those that may not be able to pay upfront, do you have a payment, like what's that?
Payment plan?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the one,
often ones at vets are like Care Credit. So we do offer a payment plan. That sign right there is actually about our payment plan.
One right there.
So it's through a third party called Verity, a down payment, but it's often under $70. So with that, we can add in the cremation service, the urn, engraving, pickup fee. We can add that all in, and they can break that payment up over 6 months.
Okay.
So there is like a down payment that looks at your income, your employment status, those types of things that it takes into account. So we do have to collect that information from people. But the payment plan is really managed through a third party. So we collect all the information. We have to get like the driver's license and things like that. It ends up being a little bit more financed than it would be paying up front, just like with anything, There's no interest, but there is a processing fee. So they charge a processing fee, then they charge us to be able to offer that. And so it's a 5% processing fee, just like the credit card processing fee. So we charge the 5% to the client just to cover that, so that's not taken out of our pocket. But it is a way to help people. We have helped several people that way. The family that just was here right before you got here utilized our payment plan. A little bit of a challenge because as a business, we know in our head we have to make money. We have to take money from people, but in our heart it's really hard to say
when you want to help.
No, because we want to help people. But we have worked with people, on our own personal type payment plans, depending on the interaction we have with people. And some people, before we had the payment plan service, we just basically said, if you can pay this up front, we'll work with you to try to get it, worked out. But we kind of got burned on that a little bit.
Yeah, you got to protect your business, even though.
So, and we didn't want people just calling us because we were a cheap place or we offered,
I think your pricing was very reasonable. I don't know what the vet offered, but I knew I would pay whatever amount to know that I was just getting her back, and knew that she would be in really good hands. And that was before I even knew you. I just knew of you and from other people I've used you and hearing, you can go on Facebook and you see the reviews, and it's just like the best care possible for your pet. So I really appreciate that. That is
something that I love reading the reviews that people write about us. And I know it's a sensitive time, and your review was very sweet.
I cried. She also writes on Facebook about your dog and creates like a little AI photo. And I cried when I saw that.
Yeah,
I've only gone one day without crying.
It's kind of crazy. I used to just go on Google and try to search for Rainbow Bridge like photos, and there's only so many that you can find on Google. And I thought, this is generic, and so I thought, how can I be like a little bit different? And so I have Gemini, which is AI on my phone, and I thought
we love ChatGPT.
It's basically ChatGPT, but it's called Gemini. It's like the Google version of AI, and I thought, I wonder if I tell it to do this, if it would do it. And it did. Sometimes it gives really crappy pictures. I won't lie. I got to do it like 6 times.
Yeah.
And they're not exact. I know they're not exact, but I think it's better than like a generic image.
It was very sweet. Oh, that's really sweet. It's like time consuming. You guys, she works a full-time job, and then she does this on like after work and on the weekends and when she's trying to sleep. So like, just know that your pet's in like really, really, really good hands.
Yeah, and that is what's the struggle, like I said, is working full time because people call and I can't answer right away. And I know it's a sensitive time, and people sometimes don't leave a voicemail. They call and call and call, and I feel really bad that I can't answer. But
you gotta work.
But I try to be very transparent on our website and on Facebook. That I do work full time. Currently, we don't have any vet contracts, so we don't pick up pets on a regular basis from any local vet. So that's been kind of a challenge because our business isn't always steady, and so. It's a sad thing to think about that our business really relies on the death of pets. But unfortunately, every day pets are passing, and we don't get the opportunity to take care of all of them because they're being put to sleep at the vet, and they're being sent to different pet crematories. And so it's a bit of a challenge. And so I think if we've been able to build the trust of many of the different vets. Some of them have said they would like to discuss, switching their services to using ours full time.
Especially you have a vehicle now.
Yes, I did buy a vehicle. For a long time I was picking up pets in my personal car. Didn't think that always looked very professional. And it's hard to always have the supplies that you need available to go pick up somebody's pet. So depending on the situation, you could need all kinds of things. So we obviously pick up pets that get hit by cars. You can't just
Toss
put them
them
in the back of
in,
your car. You have to have gloves and a bag to put them in, and you have to have cleaning stuff. And
I don't know how you do it, because I don't think I could. I don't think I could see.
Yeah, it's not. Sometimes it's not very pretty, but having the van makes it really helpful to have all the things that I need all the time.
Well, we hope you're able to get a contract with local vets, because you're in a pretty good spot where you're kind of surrounded by a few different little towns that you could,
We've helped people from all of the surrounding towns. Actually, the family that was just here came from an hour away. That was the first time we've had somebody come from that far.
Well, we're grateful, and those that, as sad as it is, will have to use your service eventually. I can't say anything greater than how amazing this whole grieving process has been, but in a way that you guys have made it really, really easy to handle, and not have me stressed about, thinking of where she's at and what's going on. And as you can see, you pour a lot more love into it than I think possible. I don't know what all vets do, but I don't feel like it's as extreme care but we get it. They can't always do that either. They don't have time. So, but yeah.
But, even after pets are gone, they still deserve that care. Yeah. So that's something we just really strive to provide people. Even if they're no longer with us, that doesn't mean that they just need to be disposed of like trash. They meant something to somebody. Even if it was a stray cat or a stray dog, they still had a life, and people really need to slow down.
I know. We're getting ready to do an episode on driving as we drive.
Well, it is crazy how many animals get hit, and that people don't stop. And
I slam on my brakes for a squirrel. I'm like, go squirrel! Get
the stories that we hear about people that their pets get hit. The stories that we hear are just like horrible. Yeah. They just run them over and drive off. It's just horrible. And there's only been one time that a woman called us saying she hit a dog, and she was with the owner. And when we got there to pick up the dog, they were hugging and apologizing to each other. The woman said, "Well, I shouldn't have had my dog out. I'm sorry." And the lady said, "Well, I shouldn't have hit your dog." And it was like a very out of a horrible situation, it was the best possible outcome. And then the woman that hit the dog paid for that woman's dog's cremation. So there are good people, even in bad situations, but most of the time people don't stop. And they just...
Well, thank you for taking the time, one, for us to kind of sit down and speak with you to really get your business out there, and also for, taking care of, I'm not going to cry again. We're past that. Oh God. Okay. It's happening. It's happening. Okay. It's not going to happen anymore. Taking care of my girl and everybody's pets. And like I said, it's not just dogs and cats that I'm sure.
Yeah, we have cremated rats, ferrets.
See, guys?
Gerbils, hamsters, rabbits. We do pick up from the local pet store if they have pets that pass away. So we have cremated lizards, hermit crabs.
A snake? No.
I have not cremated a snake yet.
Oh, I can't. Oh, they
we have like mice. So really all kinds of animals. Yeah. We are able to cremate pets up to 300 pounds. So, wow. Sometimes people reach out to us about like livestock, like goats and sheep and pigs and stuff. We haven't to the date now. We haven't done that, but people have reached out, about it. So
all your farm owners, especially with children that get attached to those creatures, just know that they're available. So, well, thank you for taking the time. We'll definitely get the word out for your business and continue to spread your business, and especially my personal experience with you. Again, I can't say it's been amazing, like nothing bad at all. And we really do. I think the community and those who will learn about you will just appreciate what you is it Andy? Is that right? What you and Andy do?
Because he's always willing to help people, and he takes extreme care. He primarily does like the cremation part. So like I do all the keepsakes and the invoicing and all of that. I do the cremations too, but he he handles those mostly, and he's very like attention to detail. He doesn't mind at all, and he loves animals just as much as I do. So from a business perspective, but also like our personal life, like I couldn't have found a better partner in life and like a business partner.
Well, I hope you guys are able to eventually, one of you, make this it does become your full time.
Yeah, I keep telling him, I said, if you want to make this full time, you got to do it all. The invoices, the keepsakes. I said, you got to do it all. It's not you just pick them up and I come home and still have to do all this stuff. Yeah. But anyway, yes, we're very happy to help people. And in the last, we've been open about almost 9 months, and we've helped over 300 families say goodbye to their pets. And some of those people have been repeat clients that have had multiple pets pass away in a short amount of time. The family today that was here right before you got here, 2 of their cats passed away in the last 2 days, and so we're going to cremate them together. She wanted them cremated together, so we offer all kinds of different custom options, and some people want extra keepsakes, some people want none, and so we're always happy to make it more customizable for people.
And it was kind of you to ask if I wanted her bed and blanket back, and I knew it would be too hard. I already have one of her blankets at home that still smells like her, so we haven't washed it. But I was like, no, because I'll just cry more and be more depressed, and then I'll never, like, I haven't touched her.
Clone in there.
I know, I should. I can't wait to see what the boys are going to be like, okay, well, one, she died, and then you brought her back cremated, and now you got a stuffed animal. What are you going to do to us? There we go. So, but yes, it was very kind of you to make sure I had the decision on what I wanted to do.
We try to make it, some people don't want it back. Some people want their pets cremated with their blankets or with their favorite toy, things like that. So we really try to just do what people ask and make sure that they feel like they had an option in the care of their pet. It's not just a cut and paste, this is all you get.
Yeah.
So we try to really make that, people feel like they have options.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking the time. Make sure to, you're able to find them on Facebook. It's at the Heavenly Hound Pet Cremation, right? Also, it's at www.theheavenlyhound.com. Yeah, and we'll make sure we post the links to that, or at least the photos on our video, so that way you're able to find them, especially if you're local or if you want to drive. I would highly recommend it, because I don't know any other place that is a small business owned that does what they do. So, but yeah, hope this has helped give you some education, give you some insight. I hope my crying has made you laugh. This is my life, people. And we'll see you next episode.